Hi, good morning, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. I am Yewande Falian, and for those who don't know me, I'm a former McKinsey consultant and Morgan Stanley VP turned founder and CEO, as well as a leadership coach. And as you may know, at OTTEL, we focus on helping entrepreneurial executives as well as ambitious managers to accelerate into more senior, more impactful, and more meaningful leadership positions. When it comes to doing that, um, and doing the things that create the results that you want, life can feel like a bit of a game. And if you imagined that your life was just one big game, how confident are you that, first of all, you're winning right now? And second, you will 100% continue to win? If you're wavering even a little bit, then stay tuned, as I've got a few insights on how you can consistently guarantee a win for yourself. So, getting straight into it, I'm going to do two things today. One, I'm going to share how most professionals approach this game of life that we're all in essence, how they play the game. And while the game that they're playing and the way they're playing may be creating success for them, it's not necessarily guaranteeing that win, nor does it give them the confidence of continuing with that win. So I'm going to share that first. And then, second, I'm going to talk about the three simple, effective, really effortless things that you can start to practice today to guarantee yourself that win, both in accelerating into more senior leadership positions, and also that you could apply across all areas of your life. So let's dive right in. So let's go back to my original question. If you saw your life as a game, how confident are you that you are heading for a win and that you can continue to guarantee that win for yourself? Maybe you immediately went, yes, 100% confident, right? With an image of you right in the middle of the podium raising your trophy. Or maybe instead you kind of crinkled your eyebrows. Honestly, not really sure either way. Or maybe it got you thinking about how certain areas of your life aren't 100% win, right? Maybe you're thinking, well, actually, I'm not even sure. Or actually, I'm pretty sure that I'm not going in the direction that I want. It's a little bit of a strange question, I know. Life isn't a game, right? Or maybe it is. It kind of depends on what your philosophy is. I'm not going to spend time philosophizing about how true that is or how untrue that statement is. Instead, as always, let's focus on what's most constructive and how that question can actually help us achieve what it is that we want. So here's the real question. If you believed that life was a game, how could you guarantee yourself a win in every single area of your life all the time? So, first, I'm going to share what most people do. Most people, first of all, pick the game that they think they have the best chance of winning, right? Or at least not totally losing at. What that might sound like is I've always worked in this industry. It's my best shot at achieving what it is that I want, right? Or I've always been told that I'm really great at X, Y, and Z. So my best chance. So I've always been great at problem solving. So my best chance is to be a consultant. Or I've been always been really analytical. So it makes sense that I'm in IT. So we basically most people kind of pick the game that gives them the best chance of winning based on historical evidence, whatever that may be. So let's imagine that in this case, we pick, the actual game of life. So the board game, the game of life, which could be your version of consultancy or banking or, picking something that's analytical versus going for your passion of creativity. And then what people do is they try to figure out how best to get the upper hand by reading the instructions, right? The game of life, Monopoly, any board game that you have has a set of instructions. This is similar to maybe going into, let's talk about the banking industry. There's a certain hierarchy that's within that industry. There's a certain way that people show up. There's a certain way that people act, right? It's understanding all of that stuff, reading the instructions and going, all right, based on how it works, here's how I need to play the game, or here's how the instructions tell me to play the game. That could also look like, Googling tips and tricks or asking other people for help, right? There's a game, there's an arena that lots of people work in, lots of people play in. And so the first thing you do is go, let me read the instructions so I understand this game so that I can best position myself to win. All right. So now we understand, now we've picked a game, now we understand the rules, and then we wait our turn, right? We go, all right, there's an order to this game. Someone else's turn to go. Now it's my turn. I'm now going to roll the dice. Rolling that dice basically comes up. You then roll your die, you cross your fingers, hope and pray that the die lands where you want it to land, and then you rinse and repeat. This is all based on the assumption that there are only two camps, right? You win or you lose. And there's a predefined way of winning or losing. And that's how most of us play this game. Again, we pick the game that we want to play in, right? Whether it's the industry, the location, the people, right? Where we go, this is my best chance of winning. We ask, we figure out what's the rule. Like, what are the rules? There are rules, right? Someone's created rules. So let's figure out what those rules are so that we can best play in that game. We wait our turn, right? Maybe this is a promotion. All right, it's not my time for the promotion. All right, now it's my turn. You play your best hand, you roll the dice, you cross your fingers, and then you do it again. People in this camp are often very frustrated. Not often, sorry, can get very frustrated and very overwhelmed, right? I actually call them frustrated, overwhelmed professionals. Frustrated because it feels like your fate is in someone else's hands, right? In this case, your fate is in the hands of the rules of the game as well as you kind of rolling the dice. Overwhelmed because you're trying to do all the things to win. You're reading the instructions, you're Googling tips, you're speaking to people, you're waiting your turn, you're observing what's going on. And remember that it's someone else's rules, right? You're trying to apply all the tips and the tricks and the rules and the rolling of the dice, and it's getting frustrating and overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. What if instead you believe that you could not lose, right? Okay, before you kind of go, okay, that's not possible. Just believe it for a second, right? If you believe that you could not lose, and not only could you not lose, but everyone else can win alongside you, what does that game now look like? And how do you guarantee that win for yourself and for everyone else? This is the attitude that intentional leaders take to guarantee a win for themselves. So, what does that actually look like? Here's where we get to the cheat sheet, the three things. The first thing is defining your own rules. When you stand in your leadership, you recognize that you always have a choice. You define your own rules when you create the game that you want to play and define what success looks like for you. For you, for yourself, for others. For example, if you want to secure that promotion, but you're worried that your career path doesn't align with the expected, create a new success path and lead others down that path with you. Second thing, determine how you want to play the game. You can imagine that there are a set of rules that instruct you how to play the games. You can go, actually, I am in control of how I want to play the game. If you don't know how you want to play to achieve your success, then what are your chances of achieving it? Know your strengths, know your passions, know your values so clearly that you create a success formula that enables you to play with other people in a way that guarantees the success that you want for yourself, for others, and in any situation that comes up. The third thing that's most important is controlling the controllables where it matters. You cannot 100% control where the dice lands, right? Similarly, you cannot control external factors like the environment or other people. The external factors are not your best chance of success. You are. Therefore, control the controllables. Control your thoughts, control your emotions, control your actions. That's where the power lies to influence and access what you need to guarantee the win that you want for yourself and for others. So, what does this actually look like? I'll give you an example. So, one of my clients, let's call her Karen for anonymity, was looking to step up into a more senior position. She'd had the conversation and was told, yes, she's ready. However, she found that when it came to actually being pulled into meetings, that wasn't happening, right? So in the past, she would have seen this as just how the game works, right? It takes time for people to adopt change, and it's best to work within her boss's timelines and processes. After doing some work together, we kind of discussed how she could define her own process. Like, what would her ideal process look like? And she said, well, she felt that she would be an asset now, even before kind of her boss and other people kind of got their acts together. So instead of waiting for her manager, i.e., waiting for her turn in the game of life, or her turn as per some random set of rules that someone else has created, she stood up in her leadership and created the process that she actually wanted. She started by getting involved, right? So she communicated to her boss that actually there's an opportunity here for her to get involved, to shadow him, right? To better understand what's going on and to slowly start to take on more things. She created a clear timeline, right, with check ins to think about, all right, what does that transition look like in terms of her stepping up to ensure that they were aligned? And she brought that to her boss, not asking if, right? Not going, hey, can we change the rules? But going, here's my game. Here's what I want to happen. How can we work together to make that happen? And in a week, she went from basically being outside, right? Outside, feeling like she was out of control, frustrated by a process that wasn't working for her, overwhelmed by all the other stuff she was trying to do to kind of get in, to actually being in control, setting out the rules, defining the rules, implementing her own rules that served her as well as her boss, as well as the company, and demonstrating her leadership, which then accelerated her to impact and to a more senior leadership position, which is ultimately kind of the main goal, or was her main goal at that point. So Karen went from being that overwhelmed, frustrated professional to an intentional leader. And she did this by defining her own rules, deciding how she wanted to play the game, and then controlling the controllables. All right, main takeaways today. Whether it's professional success or personal satisfaction, winning in life is totally within your control, 100%. Don't put your chance of success in other people's hands, in the environment, in hoping for the best, crossing your fingers, rolling the die. Instead, take control by defining your own rules, by determining how you want to play the game, and focusing on controlling the controllables, the things that you think, your actions, as well as your emotions. If you want to take charge and you're feeling out of control at the moment, maybe questioning whether you can win in terms of accelerating and leaping to that more senior, more impactful, more meaningful leadership position, then let's chat. Shoot me a DM. Put some comments in the comment box, or just head over to www.ottalleadership.com so that we can actually book some time to have a chat and see how I and my team can help. All right. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day. Stay focused, stay energized, and stay healthy.